Hello and welcome everyone. This is SHIVIR, Virtual E-commerce Summit presented to you by Shiprocket. So we live through unprecedented times, right? The COVID-19 caught most of us off guard. And during these times, while most of businesses are shut, right, this also acts as an opportunity for most of us, right? So idea of SHIVIR was born by, listening to constant ambush from Indian media about crashing economies and people layoffs and unemployment on the rise, right? So we thought to ourselves, what can we do to help our Indian SMEs? So we brought together a panel of experts who can share their experiences from and their knowledge about online e-commerce businesses, right? So offline online is the new offline, right? Today most of the businesses have to adopt to the new normal. So Shivir is going to be a 3-day event, right? So we have on day one, we have a panel of experts from Shopify, Unicommerce, All2Do, and Amazon. On day two, we will have experts from PayU, Zoho, Ecom Gurukul, Payoneer, and EarnKaro. On day three, we will have our experts giving you a coffee side chat. So I'll introduce our panelists for today. We have Siddhant Rana, Market Development Lead India and Southeast Asia Shopify. My friend Akshay Ghulati, co-founder and chief business officer Shiprocket. Amit Thapliyal, vice president of marketing at All2Do. Kapil Makhija, CEO Unicommerce. Nishant Manchanda, e-commerce management consultant. This is a quick reminder for all of you to ask any questions. There is a question mark tab on the right side of your panel. You can ask anything from any of our panelists during the event, and we will answer those questions as and when possible. So before we go to our next presentation by Shopify by Siddhant Rana, I would like to run a quick poll to all of our audiences about what kind of impact that people have had during this COVID-19 on their businesses. So can we have the poll, please? Great. So we have most of us voted. I think the majority of poll answers in yes. I think every one of us has suffered due to COVID-19 in terms of business, right? So today's event is going to be all about how your business can adopt to the whole online vertical, how we can help, and how our panel of experts can help you in managing your new online businesses, right? So I would hand over the presentation move to our first panelist, Siddhant Rana. Siddhant leads market development and partnerships for Shopify. He has 10 plus years of experience in setting up and building large consumer facing technology platforms across industries like e-commerce, internet, and financial services. Siddhant has been an integral part of leadership teams of three Indian unicorns, Zomato, Snapdeal, and Paytm, and contributed to hyper growth of the businesses. So over to you, Siddhant.
Thanks, Vishesh, for the lovely introduction, and thank you for having me here. I think, yeah, like you said, right, it's unprecedented times for our country and the world in general. And what I wanted to do today was spend a little bit of time talking about e-commerce in India, the impact of COVID, and also the direct-to-consumer revolution in context of this, right? So I'll jump right in. Quick introduction to who we are. Shopify is basically an e-commerce, cloud-based e-commerce platform. Our mission is to make commerce better for everyone, everywhere. We're a product company. We love to launch features and localize to the requirements of merchants in the finished goods space. And you know, we've loved entrepreneurs right from our start in 2006 in Canada, all the way to our launch in 2014 in India till today. So today we have more than 1 million brands on our platform across 175 countries, and a lot of them in India as well. So Yeah, retail in India, and let me talk about e-commerce first. E-commerce is a sizable business, right? Like we've seen it grow. It was at $33 billion in 2019, but as a portion of retail in India in general, it's still a huge untapped opportunity, right? There was a very good projection in terms of growth for the next couple of years, but I think with COVID, I think that has changed. And just wanted to call out, that in India we have like more than estimated 25 million retail SMBs, but only a small portion of them are online. So I feel that this is a big opportunity for everyone who has not considered or looked at online yet to consider doing that. Like we know, COVID is a dangerous pandemic. It spreads with social contact, and so what as expected, people's preference for contactless channels has gone up, and one of the changes that we've seen as a result of that is higher online consumption. Right, McKinsey did a study in early May to basically see how online shopping frequency is going to change across countries, and India was a special call out in terms of a huge change in preference towards online, right? And we've seen that in terms of like not just consumers but even merchants moving towards online. We ourselves saw a peak in the number of incoming interest on our platform to almost twice the regular amount pre-COVID, right? So definitely this is, as sad as it is, the situation, it is a positive for e-commerce, and I think merchants need to like overcome the fear and just like look towards online as a growth opportunity. So, online retail today, there are basically two retail movements at play, right? Like one option is to go to a marketplace, the other is to go to direct to consumer and launch your own sort of website or online store or online presence. The marketplace has its own advantage with low barriers to entry. You can start off, but then I think you end up paying a lot in commission, and you don't really end up owning the customer. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about direct to consumer, right? So direct to consumer is definitely a growing trend. We've seen that. We've seen that in our merchant base growing almost 40 to 50% year on year, right? So it's important to understand the drivers behind it. So first and foremost is that the access to technology tools and services has gone up dramatically in the last few years, right? Whether you're looking to set up your own website through tools like Shopify, accept payments through PayPal or PayU, or even like ship through tools like Shiprocket, right? And Unicommerce. So it's the access to technology that's become very, very accessible. Anybody can start off, right? Like earlier it was available only to large enterprises. So that's a big driver. Then social media is another big driver with almost 500 million plus users in India interacting with each other on a daily basis. Commerce also plays a big part into that in terms of how brands can communicate with their consumers. And then the last is the thirst for niche. This one is a big one, right? Like it's something that I've seen with a lot of brands coming up in terms of players like Qtro, right, which have set up like eco-friendly, sustainable, as well as natural product marketplaces, and consumers want such things, right? So they want to be associated with certain kind of brands which are in line with their lifestyles. So we've seen that this is growing, and it's something that brands should adopt as a result as well. There's obviously positive business impact of going direct to consumer as well. The bottom lines that you can get out of a direct to consumer business are larger. One good example that I like to always talk about is Vadam teas. So tea is a very interesting industry, right? Like there's the tea grower, then there are a bunch of intermediaries who transport the tea to the final shop, and then you go in there and you buy the tea. Typically, by the time you're buying the tea is already pretty old. It's not fresh, and the tea grower who's done most of the hard work doesn't really get the benefit. So what Vadam Teas did was they set up their direct-to-consumer website and started selling online and started exporting tea through their website. And they've not only been able to get like much higher bottom line, but they've also been able to pay tea growers more. So definitely a strong use case to why brands should consider direct to consumer. Creative control is another big one. There are a lot of players. Like one personal favorite is Bombay Shirt Company, right? Like if you go and to their website, you can pretty much like pick all the way from your collar to your cuffs to your name, in case you want like a monogram. Um, and it's not just the online buying experience, but you can pretty much control the experience offline as well, right? With the kind of packaging you're sending, to the kind of repeat purchase that you want to drive. And last is, because these tools are easily accessible, because of social media, you're able to launch and bootstrap a business to a large extent when you start off, right? A good example of a brand that's become successful doing this is MVMT, which was a bootstrap startup, didn't raise funding. They pretty much like creatively approached their business, and within a few years, they reached about $70 million in sales. And within and that was I think in 2017, and then 2019 Movado bought them for $200 million. So definitely a good way to like consider growing your business. An additional impact is obviously your impact on the consumer side as well. John Jacobs, which is in the affordable luxury segment, disrupted luxury eyewear altogether, right? Because they were able to bring in these great products and make them accessible to consumers. Yeah, so definitely, affordability is a big part, and then brand connection, right? Like you want to be able to build authentic connection with your customer by giving him the right kind of product. And Freewill is a shampoo brand that asks you a bunch of questions around, your skin type, your goals, and basically gives you that perfect product for you, right? So you're able to create that brand connect as well. So something that you can't do in a non-direct to consumer environment like a marketplace. So all positives for direct to consumer, right? So how do you really pick a platform and start that journey, right? That's something I wanted to cover, because this is something that most entrepreneurs face when they are beginning. So there are really 4 things that I think are super critical when you're looking towards starting a direct-to-consumer business and picking a platform. And the platform should be helpful to you in terms of achieving 4 main areas. One is starting, the other is selling, the third is marketing, and the last is managing your business, right? So just to talk a little bit about starting off and what I mean by that. It should be a simple and fast setup. It should be customizable if you need it. But generally, when you're starting off, you're not looking for too much customizability. It should be reliable and secure. When you need help, there should be access to experts. And I always like to tell Indian entrepreneurs to like invest less into the hassle of technology and things like server setup, coding, and use platforms like ours, which are easy to operate and maneuver, right? And we saw an example of a brand using this and going online quickly. Gourmet Garden, which sells fresh vegetables, was able to go online on Shopify and start selling direct to consumer within 7 days during the pandemic. So that was a big win for not just their consumers, for the merchant as well, right? Like another thing is selling across. When you talk about selling, it's about selling across channels, online stores, social channels. I know pop-up stores were relevant in the past. Maybe they will be in the near future. I don't know, but your platform should still have the ability to let you do that over time when required. And marketplaces as well, right? There are brands that want to do that in conjunction with their platform. So additionally, you should be able to accept payments and then fulfill your orders through integrations like through integrations like Shiprocket, as well as through Unicommerce, for example. Man Company is a good example of a brand that has been able to leverage our platform to do that. Marketing is critical, especially for a direct-to-consumer brand, because you have to drive that consumer onto your platform. And having access to as many tools as possible to help you do this is critical, right? Like whether it's email, buyer chat, social media is a big one, and then paid marketing integrations, which are easy to manage, right? Bunai is a brand which is an Indian ethnic clothes maker who basically leveraged the power of social media and the tools that Shopify provided to grow. And it was super satisfying to see that journey in terms of how they did well on the platform. Last is to manage your business. Once you start off, you've been able to sell and market, managing your operations, whether it's having multiple staff, getting feedback, right? This is a big one. Whether you're driving traffic and they're not converting, if they are converting, then what are the ticket sizes? Then is there repeat behavior? All of that becomes super important. And so, you should be able to get that feedback quick so that you can change. And so that's a super important tenet. And then the last is having a scalable platform. Once you start, you don't want to be like re-platforming soon. So will the platform be able to support you in your journey throughout your life cycle is another big one, right? In the interest of time, I didn't include too much more, but I know there's time for questions. So if there are questions, I'd be happy to welcome anything that you want to know more about Shopify. But on behalf of the entire Shopify team, I'd like to welcome you all here, and thanks Shiprocket again to have us. And we're looking forward to welcoming you to Shopify, the platform as well, where we've posted like a lot of local Indian brands that have done well, and like I hope a lot of you will place your trust in us going forward as well. Thanks. That's about it for me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Siddhant. Of course, Shopify has proven time and again that it's how quick and easy to get yourself online using the platform. Right? And
yeah, absolutely.
Right. So Siddhant, we have a couple of questions from audience, and I'll just take one or two of them. Right. So one of the audience questions that we have received is, how fast is it to go online using a Shopify tool?
So this really comes down to the requirements of the merchant. But I have seen, like I set up my own personal store. We are all encouraged to set up stores in Shopify. So I set up my store on Shopify in 2 hours. And I've seen like big enterprises go online anywhere from like 3 days to 30 days, depending on the complexity that they're going after. But it's really fast. And we offer a 14-day trial as well. So brands are able to take that time, use the guidance that we provide on our platform to go online. So, but it's super easy for anybody who's non-tech in general.
Great. Thank you so much. Right. As our next presenter is Kapil. Kapil Makhija, CEO, Unicommerce. Kapil is a seasoned professional with 14 plus years of experience across technology, e-commerce, and supply chain. He has been leading the company for the last 3 years and has been successful in creating Unicommerce as India's largest inventory and warehouse management software, processing over 20% of e-commerce volume. His vision is to create Unicommerce a global leader in supply chain automation industry by providing a robust and simplified solution. Having worked in both management consulting and industry roles, he brings in infectious energy to work each day, defining company strategy and directions, gaining alignment, and ensuring each team has what it needs to execute. Also providing holistic perspective on key strategies to be adopted and best ways to implement those strategies on the ground. Over to you, Kapil.
Great. Thank you so much, Vishesh. Thanks for the kind words of the introduction. And for putting this together. I think it's a great event and very relevant for today's times, given that everyone is grappling with this new normal that we keep defining and trying to figure out what's the best way forward. And with Shopify setting the context in terms of setting up D2C, very, very interesting insights. I think today what I'm going to cover briefly in the time that's there for me is about people are like you've also done a poll in which all the businesses are impacted by COVID, and Shopify again has clearly established that e-commerce is the way forward. So I think we want to talk about, given that everyone is talking about e-commerce today, how can Unicommerce particularly help them in growing the e-commerce business, given that we work with multiple relevant stakeholders in the ecosystem. So moving forward, I hope this is the introduction slide on Unicommerce. This is visible, right, Vishesh?
Yes, Kapil, it's visible.
Great. So just to give a brief about Unicommerce, we, like Vishesh mentioned, we cater to almost 20% of India's e-commerce transactions today. Which roughly translates to about 150 to 180 million plus transactions in a year. We've worked with 10,000 customers, which are across both small and medium sellers and large enterprises. And one of the key benefits is with us being sitting in the center, integrating with multiple players, whether it's Shopify in the front end, Shiprocket for logistics, and many other players. And that is how we are able to provide a central system to anybody who wants to manage their e-commerce business. You see customers that we work with, while these are large brands, but there are a whole host of small and medium businesses that we currently work with. And in our eight-year journey, we've in fact started with a lot of small and medium businesses and slowly have started now acquiring large enterprises as well. And we've presence in almost all the sectors now, whether it's pharma with Netmeds, fashion, we've got many customers, eyewear, Lenskart, and jewelry, Carrot Lane, and many other customers there. And as I mentioned, our key benefit is the integrations that we provide. We've got integrations with 40 plus marketplaces and carts, including the likes of Shopify, and also globally now Amazon, Lazada, Noon as well as logistics partners, both in India like Shiprocket, Delivery, Shadowfax, and many others, along with logistics providers in Middle East like Fetcher, RMX. And finally, the ERP systems for large brands like SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, as well as for SMEs for having a one-click integration with Tally or Busy, many of those. So this is the kind of the product portfolio that we have, and our intent is to help you grow your e-commerce business. We have a variety of businesses, people who are doing, let's say, a one order a day to maybe 1,000 orders a day or even more. We are able to cater to a large spectrum due to the different products that we currently offer. First, which is the most popular kind of the one that we started with, is our multi-channel product, which helps you connect to multiple marketplaces and multiple demand channels. So with the same inventory, you are able to go live on multiple demand channels and hence grow your business. And this full automation is actually able to help you reduce your operational glitches. Similarly, warehouse management helps you maintain your operations error-free and gives you higher efficiency so that you can improve your customer SLAs, hence improving your rating on respective demand channels and then potential growth. Finally, we have omni-channel, which is a buzzword these days. It was largely an experiment by many brands, but now it is becoming a reality. A lot of brands are approaching us that they want to enable omni-channel for themselves, and even smaller sellers are saying that, can I use my distributors for doing fulfillment from the nearest distributor? And a lot of D2C brands that we heard in the earlier presentation are also talking about hyperlocal fulfillment. So it helps them widen the product selection, as well as ensures that you're able to fulfill the orders much faster than, let's say, from a central warehouse. And Shiprocket can obviously comment on the delivery times, the increase in delivery times that may have happened due to COVID. And this is one way the brands are thinking of mitigating or reducing the delivery time or keeping the same day delivery or next day delivery experience for their customers. And finally, our vendor panel solution. This is for, again, doing managing your suppliers so that you have end-to-end visibility of your supply chain, and hence can give the same visibility to your customers, ensuring that, one, you are able to increase your product catalog on your front end, as well as provide a seamless visibility to improve the customer experience. I'm going to cover largely about the multi-channel and omni-channel products, keeping true to the theme today of growing the e-commerce business. First is the multi-channel product that I talked about that helps you connect to multiple marketplaces like Flipkart, Amazon, or even your front-end platforms like Shopify, and helps you achieve three things. You are able to see all the orders at one place so that you do not have the hassle of going to multiple platforms. Two, you are able to push the same inventory across these platforms, so that you do not have to really worry about where the demand is going to come from. Wherever the demand is, you have the inventory levels to fulfill that demand. And finally, all this data can seamlessly integrate with your ERP, whether that's SAP, Oracle, or Tally, so that you do not have to worry about your accounting needs, and all your e-commerce information can seamlessly flow there. So the idea or the genesis of Unicommerce is also about making this as a platform, which is an integrated technology platform, so that you do not have to worry about operating multiple solutions together. And especially in this time, in the COVID time, we are seeing a lot of interesting partnerships being formed across different technology players. And that is why this ecosystem which the Shiprocket team is trying to get together is also very interesting, because that will help the overall ecosystem as well. And on the omnichannel side, what we help is combining the inventory of your offline and online stores, or your offline and online demand channels, so that the customer is able to see the single truth of inventory, whether they shop offline or online. Especially because of COVID threats, there are limited walk-ins now on the offline store, and that's why brands are figuring out if they can fulfill the online demand through their offline stores. And that's why this order management and routing is an interesting combination that brands are looking for in omnichannel. And then there is endless aisle for them to connect multiple stores, so that whenever the walk-ins become normal and customers are inquiring about different products, if let's say a particular store does not have that product, they can order it on behalf of the consumer. And we are integrated with multiple point of sale. I couldn't list all of them, but the likes of Wondersoft, Genesis, Logic, all of them are integrated already, so that this can be a plug and play for anybody who wants to go omnichannel. These are some of the use cases that we do in omnichannel. You can do ship from store, ship from central warehouse, endless aisle I talked about. You can do store to store transfer. You can also do billing of offline orders. And you can also manage returns as well, so that you can do order offline, return online, as well as order online and return offline. This is one case study that we recently implemented of a brand who's doing more than 50,000 orders a month. They wanted a single window system so that they could manage their marketplaces, website, as well as offline stores. And after having evaluated multiple solutions, they onboarded with us, I think almost a couple of years back. And since then, they have seen a lot of success in through the single system. They were able to build in a lot of automation, because of which they were able to get very high levels of inventory of fulfillment accuracy. They were able to get a 30% increase in CSAT. Their shipping time as well as logistics costs also reduced significantly as a result of implementing omnichannel. And broadly, all our solutions have been able to get both sales growth because of automation, reduced manpower costs, because you don't need to have multiple people managing different demand channels. You are able to reduce your returns as well as reduce the overall inventory that you're holding right now to fulfill the demand that's available. So today in the discussion, what we want to talk about from a theme perspective is, one, how going omni-channel through a single platform actually can be beneficial for both brands as well as small sellers alike. What can technology do to offer an integrated customer experience, and as well as ensure that you are able to service the demand through optimized inventory utilization, and the benefits of comprehensive analytics so that you can make a much more informed decision making, particularly during this time when a lot of variables around you are changing. That's why you need a hold of data in a seamless manner so that you can make much more informed decisions to be able to handle the uncertainty better. So that's all we had, and looking forward to the discussion as well as the Q&A with the audience.
Thank you, Kapil. Kapil, we have one question from our audiences. When is Unicommerce going to make the payment module available for marketplaces?
So we do have a payment module already available. It works with 4 marketplaces as of now: Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, and LimeRoad. They are able to check payments received against particular orders, and are also able to port this data seamlessly into Tally. So that module is already available. They can always reach out to us on the email ID and the contact details mentioned below, and we can guide them step by step onto how that works.
Thank you. Hope that helps. And before we move forward, there is a quick poll that we wanted to do with our audiences, right? Given the whole, when the lockdown was announced in March, right, supply chain was impacted the most with people at home with demand still being there. Supply chain was impacted the most. So if our audiences could take quick minute to answer the poll, what degree are the supply chain disruptions impacting your ability to fulfill the demand of your products? Are So you can select from 1 to 5, given 1 is least, 5 is highest. To what degree was supply chain disruptions impacting your ability to fulfill the demand of the products? Perfect. So I believe the demand is still there. I think supply chain disruptions impacted most of it. So as we move forward, I would like to introduce our next presenter. So our next presenter for today is Akshay Gulati, co-founder and chief business officer, Shiprocket. So at Shiprocket, Akshay is responsible for managing the overall revenue functions of business, including marketing, account management, and customer service. Akshay has been an exemplary academic background and extensive experience in e-commerce industry, having graduated from the prestigious Wharton Business School at the University of Pennsylvania with a degree in economics. He then went on to pursue his MBA from Harvard Business School. Akshay joined Shiprocket in 2016 as the Chief Business Officer, and in January 2020, he was appointed as co-founder. Throughout the course of his career, Akshay has worked with notable organizations in senior positions. Prior to joining Shiprocket, Akshay was associated with e-commerce heavyweight Amazon in the UK, where he served as the senior manager for Pan-European FBA division. Before joining Amazon UK, he worked with Smile Interactive Technologies as Director for Incubation and Investment. He has also been associated with Art Etikani as Senior Business Analyst at the start of his career and later with the Parthenon Group in the UK as the principal. Over to you, Akshay.
Thanks, Vishesh. I can't believe you had to read through something to introduce me. Huh? You're my co-founder.
I know. It's too
I
much to
think
go
you should
through.
know that
It's too
about me
much.
by now.
Yeah, it's too much to go through and remember.
But thank you for that kind introduction, and big thank you for all our audience today for taking the time to attend this this webinar and summit that we have, and to all my fellow panelists. Thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge with the audience. I think we are truly going through some unprecedented times. So the knowledge that we can share with new and e-commerce entrepreneurs as well as people who are looking to go online for the first time, I think is going to be very, very helpful. I'm going to start with a short presentation about Shiprocket. So again, Shiprocket is basically a logistics and fulfillment platform. We started 3 years ago, and today are probably one of the largest e-commerce logistics platforms in India. Our goal is to be able to cater to SMEs, right? To be able to provide the best shipping and fulfillment experience that SMEs can get. Consumers in India are very used to what Amazon provides, next day fulfillment, getting frequent updates about your orders. Unfortunately, when you talk about the D2C ecosystem, which Siddhant briefly mentioned, or you talk about SMEs who are running either offline plus online businesses, or maybe just selling on WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram, they don't have the ability to have that entire infrastructure to take care of the consumer expectations. And that's where platforms like ours come in to help take care of that. E-commerce is definitely booming in India. All my fellow panelists have spoken about it. So I just have one slide to tell you that even before COVID, right, India was the second fastest growing e-commerce market in the world. So just behind Mexico. So the e-commerce boom in India started a while ago and continued and is continuing now even in post-COVID times that we are living in, or current COVID times rather, is a more accurate representation of that. So all of this said, e-commerce is booming in India. More people are wanting to come online, but the reality is the shipping ecosystem is broken. Sorry, I'm just going to do one check. Vishesh, you can see me transition to the next slide, right?
Yes, I can.
Oh, sorry, I can't see the overall picture. So I just wanted to confirm. So the shipping ecosystem in India is broken. So think of yourself as a new entrepreneur. Many of you guys here probably want to, and women here also want to set up your e-commerce store, or are in the process of doing so. You have wonderful tools like Shopify, WooCommerce, which are able to get you online very quickly. So you'll be able to go online, like Siddhant said, maybe in a couple of hours, maximum within a week, and you upload all your products in there. You can onboard with Unicommerce to be able to manage all your inventory in one place. And if you have an offline business, probably even integrate that with it. And you use tools like Facebook and Instagram, which have become very friendly now, to be able to do your marketing. The reality is, all of this works into getting you an order, right? So someone comes on your website, you list your product on Amazon or Flipkart, and you get an order. In the latter half, where you place your order, you list your products on Amazon and Flipkart, they take care of everything for you. So the order comes, and then Amazon will, if you're part of FBA, they will send the consumer the notifications. They will take care of the warehouse picking and packing and ship it out. But the moment you're not selling on one of these large marketplaces, you have to take care of everything yourself. And if you have a team of 100 people and you're a funded startup, it's great. But if you're just an entrepreneur and you have 4 or 5 people working in your business, it can become incredibly challenging. And that is the reason why Shiprocket exists. And I guess that's the reason why our business has seen a lot of traction in the last few years. So like I briefly alluded to earlier, right? The first part, which is the pre-checkout part, you have wonderful companies which are taking care of the whole the e-commerce process for you. You have Facebook, Instagram, which are there to generate orders. You have Shopify to help you take your store online. You have tools such as CleverTap, Criteo to be able to manage your customer and audience. And then you have PayU, who will be joining us tomorrow in this panel, and other payment gateways to be able to get your payments sent to you. And what exists, like I said earlier, what does not exist in the market today is a tool that can really help you take care of everything post the order coming in, help you take care of shipping, right? Getting you the cheapest shipping that's on there. There's no one here to help you take care of providing regular tracking updates to your customers. There's no one able to do customer support. The biggest query that we get on a platform from end buyers is, where's my package? And we send frequent reminders anytime there's a movement in the package. Every time there's a delay in the package, we send frequent reminders to the buyers of our sellers, informing them of this, but we still keep on getting inquiries around it. And as a small business, it's incredibly hard, especially in COVID times where supply chains are very, very challenged, to be able to respond to your buyers in a timely manner. And last but not the least, if God forbid your customer actually wants to return the order, the experience is incredibly broken. Most online sellers that I have interacted with and I have bought from, basically I have to call them on the phone, I have to tell them I don't want the product, explain to them the problem with the product, and then they create a return order on my behalf. It should just be a simple click of a button on the website, right? You just click a button and you say, I want to return the order. And automatically the pickup is arranged and the item goes back, much like you see on the large marketplaces. And all of this basically sums up to a very bad experience for your customers. And this is where Shiprocket comes in. Like I said, we aim to solve the entire post-checkout process for your customers and make it easy and painless for them. And what this enables you to do is it enables you to get lower shipping costs. We have some of the best rates with the carriers out there. So it doesn't matter if customers on our platform are doing 1 to 10 orders a day or are doing thousands of orders a day. We are able to get them very, very cheap shipping costs, which they're probably not able to get directly from the courier partners themselves. We're able to identify the most fast and reliable shipping option. So for example, today, if you're shipping a parcel from Delhi to Mumbai, right, we rely on very strong data and our own proprietary AI to be able to route the package to the right courier partner, who not historically for 6 or 9 months has been very good, but who's been very good in the last week to 10 days in getting those packages delivered from Delhi to Mumbai for those particular pin codes. Because especially in times like now, that data changes on a daily basis. There are distribution centers for courier partners which are open today, which may not be open tomorrow because they fall into a containment zone. You as an end user of these courier services will not have access to the data, but given that we're a larger platform and we interact with the courier partners very, very closely, we're able to provide this data to you and actually block those pin codes for courier partners who are not able to service it, so that your packages don't get stuck for weeks on end in the supply chain. All of this basically leads to a delightful consumer experience. and that is what drives retail, right? That's what drives repeat, sorry, for any business, which is the heart of any successful e-commerce business, and it leads to a higher delivery conversion, which is happy customers in the end. What we do at Shiprocket is we streamline the entire fulfillment process for you, right? We have a mobile app, we have a very extensive desktop application as well with analytics that allows you to manage your orders, manage your shipments. We have channel integrations with all the major shopping carts. We have channel integrations with all the major marketplaces like Amazon and Flipkart, as well as a lot of partners like Unicommerce who we're able to integrate with to give you a seamless e-commerce experience. We provide an absolutely customized checkout experience as well. So for example, from the screen that you see on there, you buy, Samsung is a large company, right? So everyone knows their brand. But as you try as a smaller e-commerce seller to go and build your brand, we provide tracking pages for you, as well as checkout pages, which have your own branding on there. You're able to drive that connection with your customer. We don't put our own branding in Shiprocket, but we actually enable you to brand it yourself. And then we have a very strong courier recommendation engine, which I briefly mentioned earlier as well, which allows you to choose the right courier partner for you for those particular pin codes at that point in time. And that is extremely important, like I told you, because customer satisfaction. So once a person has come and bought something on your website, they've told you that they like your product, right? And that is where your control over the whole buying process as an e-commerce seller ends. It's very important that you partner with companies which care as much about your customers as you do, and are able to provide that same level of customer service and customer excellence once the item leaves your warehouse as well. Because if you don't, the customer is not going to blame the courier company, they're not going to blame Shiprocket, they're going to blame you. They're going to say that the e-commerce seller did not deliver on time. So it's extremely important to be able to partner with the right customer-focused applications, technology providers, companies today to be able to make a successful e-commerce business. And it doesn't always have to be Shiprocket. If you find people who have shared that same customer-focused DNA, I would say across the board, whether it's from a website building platform, whether it's inventory management, whether it's marketing, whether it's logistics, please, as you are going to build out your own brand and your own D2C business, it is extremely important to have that focus, because today, it doesn't matter how many orders you do in a day. People are comparing you to platforms like Amazon and Flipkart. And if you want them to come and buy from your website, your app, then you have to be able to offer a similar experience. And again, wow, I didn't realize this slide was there, but all the things that I told you, right? So providing an excellent customer experience means having lower failed deliveries, keeping our customers informed, providing them with easy returns, having analytics about customers from which part of this country are buying what products, so you can personalize more, and then also being able to streamline your entire working capital so that you can offer more and more products to your customers. And Shiprocket provides tools for all of these things. You may not know, we are known as a courier aggregation platform or a logistics platform, but we also have a fantastic financial product called Early COD, where we enable you to get your COD within 10 days, within 2 days, even though the courier partners actually remit that COD a week to 10 days later. So it's a great product to help you get money in your pocket earlier so that you can grow your business. And again, like I said, I would just like to say that at Shiprocket, our entire focus has been to be able to deliver phenomenal consumer experiences for your customers and make e-commerce shipping simple so that you as e-commerce entrepreneurs can focus on what you do best, which is making brilliant products, sourcing brilliant products, and acquiring your own customers. Happy to take any questions if we have them.
Sure. Thank you, Akshay. So yeah, we have a couple of questions. One, we have a question from Anurag. Anurag is asking, So Anurag is asking, can we integrate Shiprocket courier tracking for customers on Shopify?
Absolutely. So we have a Shiprocket app on the, can you hear me, Vishesh?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. Sorry, someone just put my webcam off. So we have a Shiprocket app on the Shopify platform. It seamlessly integrates with your Shopify store. It pulls your orders from the Shopify platform and in turn pushes the tracking back to your website so customers can easily track where their orders are.
Great. So thank you so much. And we will have more questions when we move towards the panel. Yes. So for our next partner, I would like to introduce Alltudo, Amit Thapliyal. Amit is Vice President of Marketing at Alltudo. Amit is an experienced marketer with keen focus on business impact and expertise in brand storytelling. He brings to the table a deep understanding of digital ecosystem, customer engagement, and product growth. From multi-channel customer journeys to marketing message orchestration and revenue uplift. From front-end experiences to ATL and BTL, ABM to creating campaigns at scale, from social engagement to integrated marketing architecture. He leads global marketing at Altudo and was earlier leading product and marketing and digital initiatives at Vinculum across India. He successfully created and launched several brands in consumer space, executed activation at scale across LFRs, launched products across e-commerce channels, created demand engines for B2B and B2B2C segments, and created partner channel programs to leverage revenue streams. Over to you, Amit.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Vishesh. I hope you can hear me all right.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, and I hope you can see my presentation as well.
Yes.
So thank you so much for having me here, and thanks to our lovely audience for joining us today. I hope you're keeping safe. We've had enough of our conversations about COVID. It's unfortunately here to stay. Perhaps this year, 2020, will be remembered as the year of the COVID. But more importantly, I think, and I hope it will be remembered as our strife, as our triumph over these testing times. So a lot has changed due to COVID. A lot of our best laid plans are all out of gear. Customers, their buying behavior, their needs, the way they consume, we as consumers have changed. The way we work has changed. And with this change, we have broadened certain challenges, which we'll attempt to answer today. We heard from Siddhant about D2C, why it's important. We heard from Kapil about his perspective on how OMS technology can help. And then Akshay told us about what they can do. I'm going to talk about how. And not just D2C, but also going online. D2C, the first step is online. So let me get through the introductions first, and then I'll proceed to the topic at hand. So the impact of COVID, I did a webinar with the Oyo and Makhija a few days back. I don't know if you've seen it, but the impact of COVID has been across industries. E-commerce shopping has suffered badly, but then there are brands like Nykaa who were prepared. Brands who were predominantly online and also had offline presence. Since April, they have recovered 20% of their revenue. In May and June, they recovered 65%, and they're on track to go 100% by July. So preparedness helps. No surprises in the graph that you see here. Most of the sectors were down, but I want to bring your attention to some important factors here. Look at certain sectors which have gone up: cooking recipes, grocery, gaming. What these tell you is while brands have had a shortage of supply chain, the entire business went into a spin. Consumers have been changing. They've been changing in their habits. They've been changing in what they're consuming in terms of content they're consuming and how they're consuming. And this is something we'll talk about a little later, and perhaps talk about in depth later on. So customer experience drives commerce. Consumer buy brands, right? And essentially, they're not brands for them; they're experiences for them. So unless you're upping your game constantly in providing them meaningful, personalized, happy experiences, you're not doing a good service to your brand. Which brings us to us, who we are. We are a customer experience company. We leverage digital marketing and technology to bring seamless one-to-one personalized experiences for your brand. What do? We have a very unique marketing technology experience. I personally am involved in consulting for a lot of large Fortune 500 brands. Our team here has deep expertise in e-commerce, CPG, manufacturing, high tech. We have a very niche experience in D2C strategy, which we'll talk about later. How do we do it? We help you improve customer intimacy. It's very important that you realize that consumers today they're bombarded with brand communication left, right, and center. The only way they notice you is when you know who they are, when you can woo them, delight them, and make them stay. When you are able to create engaging digital experiences, simplest way of doing that, just to give you an example, is removing friction from your website, right? You need to understand that every customer has a journey with your brand. So the first time they see you, your ad, they land onto your website, they go to your store, or encounter you on e-commerce marketplace. These are moments of truth which are building towards a fantastic experience, and it's very important to understand that. We help you improve D2C e-commerce. We can help you devise strategies and really hone your skills at delivering direct-to-consumer goods. Yeah, so we help you improve digital measurement and analytics, getting an understanding of your customers, build technology platforms, or help you optimize technology platforms across the board to really dive into the digital innovation piece and improve your customer service, which is a major part of improving customer experience. We work with a few of the biggest brands in the world, you name it, any industry sector. We work with best of the best brands across. Let's come to our e-commerce practice. We are a group of 50+ commerce professionals. We have very strong partnerships with the best of the breed technology platforms like Sitecore, Commerce, Shopify, Magento, BigCommerce, Hybris, Salesforce Commerce Cloud. What we provide are advisory services in terms of helping you chart your strategy, architecture, roadmap, commerce platform selection, UX audit, implementation of these platforms, testing and validation of your custom built platforms, creating integrations to marketplaces and within these enterprise systems, and support and maintenance of adhering to your business KPIs. So let's talk about how we approach the online or D2C space. The way we approach them is just like we shop at offline. Here's to break some ice. A cartoon here which talks about giving wheels to a shopping cart akin to bringing e-commerce experiences. Some of the big guys say that you can't just open a website and expect people to flood in. If you really want to succeed, you need to create traffic, something we're going to talk about later. Jeff Bezos once said, if we have 4.5 million customers, each page should be a custom store for them, and there should be 4.5 million stores. And Jay Baer, one of the biggest motivational speakers and professional speakers, says content is emotional and informational bridge between commerce and consumers. So what are the challenges for digital success? One, visibility. Brands are struggling to be found by the consumers, and there are many strategies you can employ to get successful. Creating engagement. So you're now visible. You're spending megabucks on your marketing budget. Creating engagement is very, very important, and it's not an easy job, by the way. Customer experience. Many people, our definition of customer experience is just doing short online surveys. It's much more than that. If you look at the biggest brands who succeed, what they're doing right is amping up their customer experience. Go to a Nykaa.com versus a small brand. What differentiates? Yes, are the marketing budget. Yes, are the platforms. But what differentiates them from any other player is their understanding of their customers. And once you develop that understanding, you can curate experiences for them. Next, we have service. Service is a big differentiator. If you're able to differentiate your brand through service, your customers will keep coming back for more. One of the reasons why I only shop Amazon is because their service is awesome. So let's talk about a few strategies, and I'm going to tell you how we can help you with them. So if you look at what are the strategies people are employing and why direct to consumer is because the new players are disintermediating the traditional brands. Old distribution models, especially after COVID, are gone. People are going to buy online. If there is time today, I'll take you through how every Black Swan event has a kind of a pattern, right? And this pattern is going to change how people are going to shop. So brands who are not online yet will have to move fairly quickly online to tap into the demand, which is growing every day. Just to give you some perspective, across US, they have the biggest retail sector, but the online presence of US retailers has increased by 68%, 128% year-on growth in US and Canada for e-commerce orders, 146% growth in all category business across online. So that's giving you some perspective. So how to go about it? Be found. You can easily leverage SEO and your content marketing to create meaningful content. I was talking to the CEO of Makhija. What they did was they created tons of content, and they didn't create it now during the COVID time. They had a lot of content on their website. They saw their traffic go through the roof for user-generated content and content around advisory, how to improve your immunity and such. So if you are a brand, if you're a fashion brand, if you can create tons of content around it, it does help you in getting found. And like Nykaa does, a lot of tons of advice around how to do makeup, how to use these cosmetics. The how-tos is something which is not just prevalent in India, even in the US. The best of the brands like Clorox, Betty Crocker, McCormick, OxyClean, which is Church and White for you. They are leveraging content which answers users' query before they asked it, right? If you look at Casper, they built customized landing pages for how people search. So, for example, we can go into tons of examples later, but let's stick to the agenda. We're running out short of time. I can answer your questions if you have any. But be found, leverage content, then create an emotional connect. If you've seen the Dove ad, it's a beautiful ad. Just search Dove COVID ad on YouTube. You'll love it. The kind of emotional connect they've done, Courage is Beautiful, is amazing. And this, nobody can stop you. You're a small brand, you're a medium-sized brand, you're a big brand. If you're not making that emotional connect, you're losing out on a big opportunity because people are stressed out. They're uncertain of the future. If you can make that emotional connect, you can sell better. Focus on customer experience, remove friction. Friction comes in many ways, shape, and forms. From your forms on your website to how many steps your shopping cart has before they can place an order. Two, are you able to recognize your existing customers and returning customers from your new customers? Trust me, new customers are the king, but your existing customers will give you more business. So you got to concentrate on both, remove friction, make it easy for them, and delight them. Then we have, getting your fulfillment strategy and aligned to your business KPIs. Kapil and Akshay have already spoken about it. I'll not go into detail, but it's very, very important you get your business alignment correct. And last but not the least, micro-segmented segmentation-based strategy. We'll talk about that a little later in detail, but let me quickly take you through how we can help you. So we have something for you, which is essentially a digital commerce strategy workshop. Akash, if you could just send the link to everybody in chat. Essentially, what we're helping here is helping you identify commerce-led architecture. So there are three basic type of architectures. One is commerce-led, where we have a commerce platform and you have an entire ecosystem around it. Then you have experience-led, where you start with a digital experience platform, build a commerce engine on it, and then create an ecosystem around it. And then you have an API-oriented, which is pretty quick. You've got a custom front end, connected with the relevant APIs, and start running your shop in days, not weeks, not months. We can help you identify the right platforms. We can help you provide the right logistics and ecosystem providers. We can help you build user interfaces and engagement platforms, and we can help you plug it up with the relevant systems and get you moving faster. We've got a 30, 60-day, 90-day high-level post-launch iteration at storefront, and we can take you home in no time. That's it from my side. I hope I'm not over time. I can take any questions, and I hope Akash, you have sent them the link where they can register for a no obligation virtual workshop where our team will come. They'll study your business requirements. We'll draft a e-commerce blueprint for you, And then we'll do workshops where we'll help you understand your customers. We'll help you understand what they need and how to build an experience platform around it. It's free, no obligation, virtual. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you so much, Amit. I think we'll take up questions in our panel discussion, but we do have one.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So what is the overall execution model between merchant and e-commerce platform? Could you throw some light on that?
What is the overall
execution model between merchant and e-commerce platform?
So it depends. I mean, when you talk about a merchant, when you say a merchant, I'm assuming you're talking about a marketplace kind of a scenario, right? When you talk about so a merchant is listing his products there. What you need to make sure is you've got your product information, your catalog information right. Your e-commerce platform does a function of publishing this information. There are 5 things which are essential. I'll go into the top 3. The rest 2 are very technical. Getting your catalog there, getting the right product information there, having a search and filter mechanism which can help you quickly browse through the products, make an order, and the e-commerce platform, if you have one, depending on the scale of it, it can help you route that order from a merchant to an order management system to your warehouse and through the entire delivery process, including returns and exchanges.
Great. Thank you so much, Amit. So yeah, I will open up our panel for today with the agenda being growing your e-commerce business from offline to online. Well, we all have to agree today, in today's time and the near future, offline is a no-show, right? And with growing consumer demand online, we all have to figure out the right practices to grow our online businesses. And before we do that, I have an interesting poll that we would like to do. Right? COVID-19 pushed us into a work from home model, and this is still say. What I want to ask our audience is, how many of us are still on a work from home model even after the unlock 1.0? So I think most of us, almost 80% of us, are still working from home, and I think that's going to stay for a while now. Great. So I'd like to open up the panel and invite all our panelists today. So before we start the panel discussion with individual questions, I would like to ask each one of you for a one-liner on how COVID has impacted your business and what are the changes that you have made in your current business plans or strategy in order to tackle with those. So I'll start with you, Siddhant.
Sure, Vishesh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Just want to make. Okay, great. Yeah, so I like you said, right? Like e-commerce has been definitely has definitely seen the impact of COVID, and so have we, right? And so I think what we did was we basically saw a lot of increased interest from brands pretty much across the board, right? Whether it was small brands, entrepreneurs who want to start off, who had like one store. And one of the things that we saw was that it was all different category of merchants that wanted to suddenly come online, right? So those are the 2 things that we saw upfront. And so what we did was we worked towards first launching a number of, like as a company, we launched a number of product features which were very relevant for merchants across the world and in India specifically, right? So we launched Shopify email, which was not there earlier, and it's still available and free for most merchants. I think till for all merchants till October end, right? Then there's gift cards as a functionality. We made that available because of lockdown, so that if there are merchants which couldn't do sales, at least they could sell their gift cards so that customers can come back to them at a later time. We launched features like local delivery because buying local is going to become an increasingly important trend in the coming months and quarters, right? So now you can easily set up your local delivery on Shopify. And we launched even tips because we saw that there were different category of merchants that were coming online. So we wanted to make sure that all offline merchants in say grocery were able to, let's say, leverage a feature like that. Another important thing that we launched was an express theme, for example, right? Like a lot of merchants don't want to like go through the headache of setting up an online store with very detailed and customizable themes. So an express theme is great for merchants who are in the grocery or say the food and beverages space, who just want to like make sure that all their products are visible in one page. Very easy to set up. On the commercial side, we basically have a 14-day trial that is running, and we also with a lot of our strategic partners like yourself, Unicommerce, PayU, etc. We've come up with a back to business campaign, which will give benefits of up to rupees 1 lakh to anybody who is starting off their business and leverages these services, right? So we sort of like came together as, and it's a great thing. It's an example of how companies in the e-commerce space came together to give like a joint proposition, right? Like which is useful for merchants. So these are some of the things that we did during COVID.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. The whole business proposition and with credits, I think people can use whatever possible today in order to get maximum benefit. Kapil, what kind of changes did you do in your line of business, and any certain? Did you also see a unique category or new categories that you haven't seen before in e-commerce world?
So I would like to structure this into two parts. One is internal changes that we had to do to adjust to this, because we are again a very lean company, for 150 people, and all of us work like a family. So having to work now remotely, obviously it took some time to get used to it. But I think that, but now we're seeing in fact much higher levels of productivity, and we are in fact contemplating. We've just extended work from home for more than 3 months for our team. We're contemplating maybe we do this become a steady state for us, that we all work remotely. In terms of our sales process itself, a lot of it was FaceTime driven, in person, but now the customers are also open to having remote calls, etc. So I think those are some of the internal changes that we've done. On the external front, we are definitely seeing a spike. So Siddhant had mentioned that he's seeing twice the probably inquiries. In our case, the number of inquiries in fact increased 4 times compared to March. And for example, on topics like omni-channel, etc., we were the ones until last year kind of educating the ecosystem, helping the brand understand why it is important to us. Now it's the other way around. The brands are after us saying that why don't you implement this for us? I think those are interesting changes that are happening. So on the product front, we have done a lot of enhancements in our omni-channel product. Specific categories, we are seeing a lot of interest in the FMCG and personal care space. We have largely been very fashion focused in our initial years, but now in last year we are diversified with few customers in FMCG and pharma categories, but we are seeing a definite spike there, and hence we have also evolved product to be able to cater to those needs. Things like like batch management, expiry management, in our warehouse management. Integrations is something that we have worked on quite a lot in the last 1 quarter. So whether it's integrating, making your point of sale plug and play integrable into our system for omni-channel, or newer marketplaces that are coming in, newer logistics providers that are coming in through or deepening even our integrations with existing players like Shiprocket and even Shopify. For example, we listed our app on the Shopify store. So a lot of work has gone on those. So, but I think the overall response has also been quite good. Like I said, that even for both domestic and our international sales, a lot of customers are showing more flexibility or doing this remotely, taking it primarily on product merit rather than, it was earlier a mix of both product and relationships. But now I think it's becoming a level playing field for everyone. So the best product is kind of winning, and that's actually pushing all of us to innovate more and more. And that's why, like Siddhant mentioned, and there's so many innovations in the last few months that they have done. I think it's pushing everyone, which is a very healthy trend for the overall ecosystem. So those are my 2 cents on whatever has happened so far.
Yeah, thank you. And Akshay, of course, we had the front row seats to the entire internet revolution happening right in front of us over the last couple of months. And while I know we did a lot of changes to adopt to those, but I would like you to take few seconds to explain what have we done in terms of helping accommodating the new set of merchants and categories that came by us.
Absolutely. I think again you're right, because the first thing that shut down when the lockdown happened was logistics, right? People who had sent their orders in the last or second or third week of March, I really pitied them, because second, third week of May, 2 months later, their orders were still stuck in some warehouse and you and I both went through that pain together, where we tried to get all of those parcels delivered. And I think I think the biggest learning, personally, from a personal perspective and an organizational perspective, I think there have been two big learnings that have come out. One, from a personal perspective, I think it's like never say never, right? I never thought we could be 100% work from home organization. I would have confidently said that in late last year if someone asked me that. And we are a successfully 100% work from home organization, and we're in many ways more productive than we've ever been before. So you and I, Vishesh, were in Bombay looking for an office in December, and now we laugh and think, why do we need an office in Bombay if the guy is just coming and doing Zoom calls? Like, why do we need that?
Yeah.
So I think from a personal perspective, I think it's great. I mean, we've been able to challenge boundaries that we've not been able to before, or I would say haven't been forced to before. And from a professional perspective, I think and I said this quite often during my presentation, is that I think the whole orientation of the organization towards customer success is extremely, extremely important, and has been even more important in the last couple of months, because our customers, especially given that more than 70% of our customers are SMEs, right? They don't have the resources, the people to be able to chase after every courier company and after every delivery. So being able to support them through these tough times, I think one thing I've learned is that you support your customers during the tough times and they'll stay with you. And I think it's been true for us as an organization, and I think it's even truer for our customers and their customers, right? So if somebody ordered an item on your website in March, right? If you're able to call them back in May and say that, you know what, if you still want this product, I'm happy to get it delivered, or I'm happy to get it returned and get your money refunded, rather than saying, oh, you know what, let the customer take care of it. If he doesn't get the product for 3 months, he'll shout and call me and want a refund, or go on Twitter or one of the social media platforms. I think an orientation like that I think is very important. It's a very important learning for us as an organization, and I think for all the people on this platform. Repeat is king, right? In e-commerce, you can't run an e-commerce business on first-time purchases. The cost of acquisition will kill you. And if you want repeat in any business, make sure you keep people happy. That's the only way repeat comes. And whether you're in a restaurant, a hotel, or an e-commerce business, and I think that's what the biggest learning has been, is no matter how challenging the environment gets, make sure that you keep your customers happy. You work day and night to cater to your customers, and those are the businesses that are here to stay.
Absolutely. Right. So Amit, while you deal with larger brands in terms of building customized experiences of consumer behaviors for them, what advice would you give to our small and medium-sized businesses who are first timers in going online? Or what do you think they should be doing in terms of what kind of customer data, on a very basic level, of course, what kind of data they should be looking at as a new or first time e-commerce entrepreneur?
So just to make a small correction there, though we work with a few of the biggest brands, we have recently, for about past year, we have started focusing on SMEs as well, where we are helping them build quick web fronts on Shopify and other platforms and take them to market faster. And you'll be surprised how many brands have come up to us and say, I want to go D2C. Can you help me open a web front in the next month or so? And we did that. So coming to your question, my only advice, in fact, so if you look at it this way, fundamentals of how a brand and how a customer behaves haven't changed. Yes, consumer behavior has changed in terms of expectations. In fact, now customers expect even more from customers. So if you're a small brand, you got to realize what your challenges are. So what your challenges are, you don't have too much of budgets to spend. But if you look at, I'll give you an example of Newton Running. So what Newton Running did was they had a 23% uptick in their business by just doing one thing, which is banking upon user-generated content. So they did a lot of video reviews and they generated tons of content traffic on it, and they improved their sale by 23, 25%. So it's not about how small or how big you are. You've got to focus on only three things. Apart from product, price, promotion, place, or your marketing mix, you got to focus on knowing your customers. And in fact, you may or may not agree with me, but smaller brands actually have a very good sense of who their customers are and what they want, because they don't have large product lines. they have only 4 or 5, maybe 6, 7 categories, and they know how their customers behave, what time their campaigns are working, what campaigns are working. So understand your customers. A, B, nothing stops you from creating good experiences. I mean, it's going to be the only thing stopping you from doing that is being plain lazy, right? I've seen small brands. In fact, I've worked with smaller brands who have created a fantastic ecosystem of how their customers can interact with them and make that conversation very pleasurable. Third, technology. Not all technology is expensive. There's technology that you can build, technology that you already have, but you don't know the real impact of it. I mean, I can go on and on about how people, especially marketers, are guilty of not leveraging their marketing stack properly, but the technology you already have, if you have the right strategy, if you have the right blueprint for like what I'm going to do when I'm going to go online or D2C, if the right blueprint mapped out, your success, nothing can stop you from succeeding. So we focus on these 3 things, and you'll be good for the long run.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think while there are tools like Shopify and Shiprocket, we have actually made going online and managing operations quite easy. What still remains a challenge is profitable online demand generation. I think that is quite a big challenge, and it challenges much bigger for a first-time entrepreneur with minimum knowledge of digital marketing. I think that still remains a challenge, and I believe tools like yours can help them get over those particular problems. Right? So I'll move to Akshay. There was a question around, there are companies like Shopify helping online merchants come online. What are the major challenges they will face, especially if they are new to online selling? So if you are new, what are the first maybe top 5 challenges you will face as an entrepreneur?
No, absolutely, and I think the first challenge is something you spoke to yourself, right, Vishesh? Setting up a website does not mean is not equal to having a successful online business, right? Setting up a website is the easy part, right? And Shopify has made it even easier than it ever was before. I think knowing how to generate orders, how to create a brand, right? If you just open a website, put in products there, people will not come. Right? People will come if they see something that interests them. So you need to have products that have a story, that are interesting, or that are need-based, right? So today, like put a website up with masks and funky sanitizers, probably people will come, right? Because it's the need of the hour. 6 months ago, that was not the case. So again, do something, have a brand, have a story, be able to get people in. Can you hear me? Because I'm getting some red thing flickering on my laptop. Okay, it's saying I have network. So yeah, and I think so generating demand is the toughest part. Like Facebook and Google have made their interfaces and their tools much easier for now entrepreneurs to deal with, but it's still a complex ecosystem, right? It's money that you have to spend upfront. So unlike other tools, right, you have to spend that money upfront to generate your demand, and you don't know whether you're going to get a return on that investment. So it's important to be smart about that. I think that is the first issue people will face, which is getting demand on their own platforms. I think the second issue today that people are facing as first-time entrepreneurs is supply chain, right? So if you're a manufacturer, it's about getting labor into your factory. If you source products from within the nation, it's about getting them to your warehouse in time or drop shipping them in time from your manufacturer to the customer. And unfortunately, if you're importing from outside, you're in even bigger trouble because there's a lot of issues in that supply chain. Doesn't matter where you're getting things from, right? So people who used to plan on working cycles of 2 to 3 months had stock for 2 to 3 months and then used to replenish. Probably now have to plan for 6 to 12 months, and that's more money that you need to put into your business than you ever needed before. So I think smart supply chain management and having alternative supply sources locally, if you're importing, especially, are very, very important. And it again goes with the whole local theme that the government has been telling us to do as well. So I think that is the second challenge. And I think the third challenge, which I'm not going to go to 5 in the interest of time, I think first entrepreneur faces is that, let's say you've been able to get the profitable demand, you've been able to get the product, you got the order, you woohoo, excellent, right? You hit the jackpot. Now getting a repeat, and I've said this before, from the same person is critical. because you've already spent the money to market to that person. You send them the product, hopefully your product, you were smart about it and it was a good product, your customer should have liked it. Now, how do you use the intelligence to be able to make sure they had a good customer experience? So it's about collecting your NPS. We have a free tool at the bottom of our Shiprocket tracking pages, which allow our merchants to collect their own NPS. So they also know what their customers are feeling and what they feel about the entire experience that they've had with them. It's not just about the checkout experience when you bought the product and your product wasn't delayed in the supply chain for 10 days and your customer didn't get it. It's post getting the product, how did the customer feel? Very, very important. And then using all the tools that are provided, right? That you have around analytics, around people coming back to your website, retargeting them on Facebook with newer, more personalized products. I think that is really going to be the ethos of a successful business. And I think as a first-time entrepreneur, these three things eventually are very tough to understand, because especially the last one, because one, getting an order, opening a website is not equal to getting an order. The same thing, acquiring a customer, which means having someone buy once from a website is not equal to having them buy again from your website, right? It's very, very different. And to want to run a sustainable business, and this is true for any business, especially e-commerce, but in any business, right? You need to be able to overcome these three challenges. And it's great that I just realized what I was saying, and I think we all here on this panel provide tools to address each one of these problems, right? Unicommerce is there to address the supply chain, Siddhant and Shopify are here to address going online, and Amit can help you market and acquire and retain customers better, and hopefully we can help give a delightful shipping experience. So wow, so you want to be a good entrepreneur, get 5 of us.
Yeah. So the quality, so mantra for a successful e-commerce business is focus on quality of your product as well as customer experience, both. Right. I'll move to Kapil. Kapil, the whole omni-channel is still a term that is used quite often in the industry, right? And now, I think with the whole COVID striking us, I think omni-channel is as more important than ever, right? What are your recommendations to brands who are offline, and how do you think they should approach the whole omni-channel approach, omni-channel presence for their brands?
Sure. So that's correct, Vishesh. In fact, like I mentioned in the beginning as well, omni-channel was more was treated more like an experiment before until last year. But now, given how consumer preferences are changing, a lot of consumers are shopping online. A lot of brands are now treating this as a core strategy, and it is the top management is now wanting to make sure that it gets implemented seamlessly. I would want to break down the thinking of omnichannel into 3 parts. One is in terms of your own organizational structure, it should be omnichannel ready. Because this is something where online and offline worlds come together. So far, in most organizations, there will be an e-commerce head and there will be a retail head. Now it's kind of getting the both together, right? Getting both the teams together. So you'll have to make sure that the incentives of the team in the central office are aligned, as well as incentives at the store level are aligned. Because for a store guy, if you go and talk to a store guy, he will say this online world is whole fake. I don't believe this. For me, a customer who walks in is the real customer. I would want to save my inventory for that. I will not fulfill an online order. And solution providers like us had a very hard time in convincing the store guys to actually look at the online orders, fulfill them. Now, obviously, it's a mandate, but even when, and hopefully things will start getting back to normal in 6 months, 9 months down the line, fingers crossed. But then again, offline sales will start to happen. At that time also, it's important that the incentives are aligned so that it becomes a habit of a store guy. He's able to give the equal importance to the online orders as well. So that's one. The second, obviously, is omni-channel, because it is talking about online systems which are more modern versus offline legacy systems having to talk to each other. It's a lot about technology also, so that they are able to have the right technology where the two systems can talk to each other and provide a seamless experience to the consumers. The third is just the uniformity from a strategic perspective, that you're saying omni-channel, you have to believe in offering an omni-channel experience, whether it's pricing, product selection, promotions, or any other experience that you offer to a consumer when he's walking to an offline store. The similar experience has to be offered to the best extent possible in the online world as well. The consumer is loyal to you, like Akshay keeps mentioning, right? It may be easier to acquire a customer, but it's much harder to retain a customer, right? So the customer is expecting a similar experience. I think these are the three levers that I believe will be successful. It has a large potential, and not just for fashion that we work primarily with, even with FMCG, right? They're wanting to go direct to consumer and hyperlocal, or pharma, or many other players. For all of them, it becomes a necessity now, and this is a good time for them to set up these processes, both organizationally, technologically, and strategically. If there are alignment on all three, I think it can be seamlessly implemented.
Yeah, I agree with that. So thank you, everyone. So I'll have some questions from our audience, and then we'll take the last 5 minutes to actually, if you guys could briefly answer them. The first one was for Siddhant. Siddhant, you mentioned some tools that Shopify provides for brands like Bunai. What are those tools?
Yeah. So basically, so I was talking about social integrations within Shopify, right? Like, so there's obviously we have various channels that help merchants market, right? I talked about email, I talked about buyer chat, I talked about, and then there's social media specifically, right? Like social media has various integrations. There is one direct integration that we have, which is with your Facebook shop, which is a one-click integration that you can do. And then there is also, integrations that you can enable using third-party apps, right? We have an app store as well, which do some of the more complex social integrations that you want to do. So we do want to bring in closer integration with social channels like Facebook via things like the Facebook shop. I think that is in the process of being launched in the US, and then will be slowly ramped up and launched across the globe. And so India will also be on the roadmap. We don't have a clarity on when, but these are some of the things that are immediately available, which merchants can use to drive like, and that's what even Bunai used, right? So
perfect. And actually, last one for you, a most pressing issue for us as Shiprocket, but yeah, one of the questions is, how do you deal with the problem of fake attempts by courier partners and customers not picking up the call? How does Shiprocket help with that?
Oh, absolutely. So I think we have 2 or 3 very useful tools that we use to be able to help with that. Can you hear me, Vishesh?
Yes, I can.
Webcam's gone off, but yeah, there are a couple of tools that we have which really help with this, right? So for example, we have an IVR-based system where every time, the first time that a courier partner puts in a comment saying that the buyer did not want the delivery or the buyer was not available, we have an IVR SMS and call that is triggered to the buyer, actually asking them whether they actually wanted delivery or not. So for your customers who actually wanted the delivery, it's a great way for us to tell the courier partner, hey, you know what? You're wrong, this is a fake remark, make sure you get it delivered. And we actually see a very, very high conversion on this particular process that we have. Obviously, not every customer responds to the SMS or picks up the phone call. So in those cases, for example, where we receive intimation from our seller saying that, I have spoken to the customer and they really want it, we get a second attempt done. And if the second attempt fails, then we actually have our call center also call up the customer, right? So we try our level best from all angles to make sure that the product gets delivered. Again, and fake remarks is something that it's unfortunately a cost of doing business in this industry, because the courier partners also don't want to do fake attempts, right? It's the FE on the ground who's there. He might have too many parcels to deliver that day, may not for some reason want to go deliver that parcel. So it's about controlling the leakage there. So we have tools around all of these things that we then try to our first objective is to try and get the parcel delivered, and our secondary objective, if for whatever reason the parcel doesn't get delivered, and we try to prove to the courier partner this is a fake attempt, and try to get at least the freight refunded to the customer, right? So that, again, that's not a consolation, but it's if you've already gone through the heartache of not having your product delivered to your customer, at least try and get the money back. On top of it, there are other tools that we have personally that we work with courier companies. Some courier companies have the tech to be able to, for example, do geotagging. So a pickup boy or delivery boy will only be able to say that customer is not there if he is within 100 meters or 50 meters of the location, right? He can't be sitting 5 kilometers away and saying customer not there. These are tools, unfortunately, that are not always exposed by every courier company, even though most of them have it. So wherever we do get access to it, we're able to use this data and go back to the courier company and say, please get it done. And again, the reason we exist as a company is to be able to solve these issues for our customers, and hope that in every case, I mean, India is a very large COD economy, so you can't expect 100% delivery, because a lot of times people just change their mind by the time the product comes to the door. But try and getting that delivery percentage as high as possible is a metric that you, Vishesh, and you know as well, we discuss every day in our business huddles, right? That's one of the biggest metrics in this company.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. This marks the end of today's session. And I would like to thank all the experts on today's panel. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking out the time.
Thanks, Vishesh. So sorry, it's not the end of the session. We have Nishant coming up, huh? Talking about Amazon marketing.
Of course.
So please, I don't want people to log off. Yes, it's the end of the panel. We have Nishant, who's going to be talking about Amazon marketing and how to run a successful business on Amazon. And thank you to all my fellow panelists. Really appreciate your insight here and all the taking the time to actually speak with the audience that we have today. Hopefully, a lot of them will benefit from your comments.
Thank you so much for hosting.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Vishesh.
Thank you.
Nishant.
And moving forward, I would like to introduce Nishant Manchanda for an Amazon training session. Over to you, Nishant.
Thank you.
Sorry, we overshot our timeline. We were supposed to start at 4:30, but we did take a couple of minutes extra. But
no, it was actually a very insightful session for me, and I've been hearing from the very first minute of this session. Yeah, I just took 5 minutes break in between. Yes, it was a very great session. In fact, Amit, I liked his Amit's session. Like, it was beautiful insight, and definitely I work with you guys. I'm actually working with the. I believe. Okay, let me share my screen as well. Yes, I believe. Perfect. So yes, that's been a great session I was mentioning. So I'm working with Unicommerce and I'm working with you guys as well, Shiprocket, day in and out. So yeah, a lot of things which I had a questions as a end user as well. I got them answered as also. And thank you so much for this insightful session. And I believe there are a lot of people who've been waiting for this Amazon session, how they can actually start business on Amazon. Amazon India, I'm going to talk about specifically. And I want to thank all of you to really be registering for this nice initiative by Shiprocket. And I believe this kind of initiatives are required for the industry to really come forward and educate the business fraternity and how they can really, in this current time, do the e-commerce business and how they can actually grow. To be honest, everybody who asks in my circle, how's the lockdown going on? I'm saying that, okay, I wish there are 48 hours in a day and I can get away with my sleep, because there's a lot to help the businesses who are really keen to be online nowadays. And there have been very good businesses who are following certain right steps and having the right tools in place with the right set of strategies. They're actually doing more business than the pre-lockdown or pre-COVID era. So, but most of the time, actually, I have been noticing that people are actually not ready to change. They have somehow, they're afraid of change. And the only thing which I ask them, and I'm going to ask all of you as well, is that if change is something which is not going to come to us, we would not have been actually having laptops with us, mobile phones. And one thing which I simply asked, few years ago, were you using WhatsApp? People started using it so as businesses now. And the same question is about e-commerce. Because of the situation, customers have actually started going online. Why aren't you going online? Right. So e-commerce as a channel is not an option nowadays. It's actually a necessity or a must to have for businesses. And I call it a post-COVID era of Indian e-commerce industry. Trust me, if you really want to be in the race, get onto this bus now, get onto this train or flight, whatever you want to call it, be onto this now, or else you will be left behind, because consumer behavior is changing. Essentials are online nowadays. To share my own example, my mom, she uses Paytm completely, Google Pay, and she says, why don't we order online? Groceries are coming online to my place, and everything, every necessity thing is coming to my place. She says, why you have to go out when things are going to come? Same thing 2 years ago, when I used to say, Mom, why don't we buy things online? She said, no. मैं जाके ले आऊंगी ना market से. See the difference. Now she's convincing me that buying online is safe. It's a change in the consumer behavior, and everybody was talking about in the panel as well that the consumer is changing, and we need to change as per the consumer. Else we will be left behind. So change is the constant, which actually is the constant. It's constantly changing. So we need to be on top of it. And when it comes to moving online, people say that it's not a cup of my tea. I want to ask everybody, the things which you are doing now, people have changed their business over the course of 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, either change their location, change their product category, the change in the overall, how they approach the pricing strategy and everything. And that's what is required now. You're moving your business from offline to online, and it is actually an omni-channel game. I've been personally working in omni-channel for the past, I'd say 6 years now. Back in 2014, I started my fashion business, which was completely omni-channel. We had a retail stores, we had a B2B channel, we had our own portal as well. That time it was very new for the people, but now it is actually becoming a reality, right? And that's something which we are going to talk in the next 15 minutes, and I'm going to be very precise. सिर्फ धंधे की बात होगी, तो फालतू बात नहीं करूंगा मैं, ठीक है? To the precise. So I want all of you to have a notes, pen and paper ready with you, because there are a few things which you might want to write down. Okay, so be ready with that. And before we move ahead, I just want to take a minute to tell a bit about myself. So this is me, 31st of December 2015, 6:05 p.m. I was amongst the people like who, like many of you would be here who feel that e-commerce is not a piece of cake for them. I was one of them on that particular day, 6:05 p.m. I was actually clicking. There's a story behind this order from Amazon, and this actually changed my decision of moving away from online business to actually focusing again for the next 6 months on e-commerce business. And from less than 10 orders online a month to actually I moved to few thousand orders a month. In totality, from all the channels, we were getting around 15,000 orders a month. Okay, and that's the journey I had, and that's something which definitely I share with all the brands which I mentor today. So we are an Amazon partner company, and you can see some of the numbers. So these are the brands specifically during the COVID period we helped in getting like 7,129 orders. Total number of 8,068 units were sold, and 81,98,782. This is the number till 5 p.m. yesterday. That's the count we have helped people, specifically majorly in the COVID period. We have helped people in actually getting business from Amazon, if I talk about. Okay, so this is the change in the behavior. Okay, so people are actually buying online, specifically in the COVID period as well. And these are some of the reports. There's a report which was published by the experts, which they were expecting 200 billion worth of Indian e-commerce industry by 2026. But because of this last 2-3 months of change, they're expecting this to reach pretty early. And as I was saying about my mom's experience, this is actually happening. So more than 50% of consumers who have ordered products online, they would have actually purchased at the store. The groceries are being bought online. The fruits and vegetables are being bought online. So consumers are moving towards a digital, right? So in this scenario, एक बड़ी simple सी, I'm going to use Hindi over here, कि धंधे में कहते हैं जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. If your consumer is actually moving online, and if you're not there, how you're going to make sell? If consumer is there and you're actually showcasing it to them, then it actually gonna be selling. But into this whole game, the major question which I receive on a daily basis is, it's not a cup of your tea. You have never done a business. You don't understand this. I agree with this. But it's not a rocket science. There's something which you have been doing. There are certain things you have been doing for the very first time. So is the e-commerce business. It's not a rocket science. It's just you need to understand few basic things. Okay, the next slide, which actually I'm going to talk about, is the foundation. When we talk about Amazon as a business, okay, there are certain foundations which you need to lay down before you start the business, and majority of businesses actually do not get into this Amazon business because they don't understand these 4 points, right? And they fail because of these 4 points not having in place. So the first thing is you need to understand the business models of Amazon. Okay, FBA, this is called fulfillment by Amazon, then something called easy ship, and then called self ship. I'll explain a bit about all of them. So FBA is nothing but where Amazon manages the warehouses. They keep your stock in their warehouse. As and when the order comes, they process, they pack it, they ship it to the customer. If it has to be picked up back because of either a faulty product or customer is not available or customer doesn't want the product, they take care of it and put it back into the inventory. So they take care of your entire operations. That's an FBA model, fulfillment by Amazon. Okay. Then there's a model called easy ship. So easy ship is nothing but Amazon provides you an option to keep your stock within your warehouse, your factory, your store, wherever you have. You process the orders, but Amazon takes care of the logistics. Okay, so this is something which happens in easy ship model. Next comes the self ship. Within self ship, Amazon allows you to use your own courier services. Okay, there are benefits of each and every model. I won't be able to go very much deep into each and every model, but on a different level, on a high level, I want to tell you that FBA, easy ship, and self ship. These are 3 models which you can work. If you don't have a capacity to really have people in place who can do the order processing, do the packaging, let's say for 500 orders a day, then you prefer to go for FBA. They take care of everything. You just focus on identifying the right product, doing the right listing, and shipping the product to the Amazon's warehouse. They take care of rest of the things. Okay. Then comes the easy ship. So easy ship again, if you want to take Amazon's services, you have the warehouse, you want to keep your stock with you, and you can use their services, and that's a good service. But in self ship, you might want to ask how you're going to do the shipping. And we have been actually talking about the shipping solution only. Shiprocket actually has a very integrated platform with Amazon. So you can actually do a single click order processing if you're selling on Amazon through this Shiprocket solution. Right. Majority of my brands whom I have been mentoring and helping them going online, almost everybody is having a Shiprocket with them because it helps them in actually automating their process. I'll be talking about that a little later. So that's the model. So you need to understand which model you can work in, which is suitable for you. That's one. Second biggest problem which I come across with the brands in taking a decision, they don't understand the costs. So Amazon has different set of charges. Amazon charges are commission, which is on the order. Then there is a fixed fee which covers up their certain operational charges like payment charges and transaction charges and all. These are the charges which Amazon takes. Then there is a shipping cost. If you're using Amazon's courier services, Amazon charges for you. If you're using your own courier services, then you have to pay the shipping cost. Then there is a return. As Akshay mentioned in this, there is a there's a cost of doing a business. So on an online business, there is a set of return which comes up, or there's a damage which happens during the transit. There are certain there's a certain percentage of orders which generally comes back to you, or they have a damage. So you need to understand that cost, and that's the cost of doing a business. Then there is an operational cost wherein you pack the order. There's a packaging cost. Then there is a shipping, so printing cost. You need to print the labels and everything. So these are the different costs which you need to understand when you are planning for your pricing. Okay, so pricing is something which actually is very important in terms of what kind of price point you're going to play on and what kind of business model you're going to choose on, because each and every business model like FBA, easy ship, and self ship, the costs are different. Okay, and that cost affects your profitability, and that's where most of the sellers fail. Okay, if you understand all these and you play the right way in terms of, okay, this is the cost, this is the price, this is the model, and then you can actually win the game. Okay, now the next big thing which I get from people that, okay, why we need to do marketing? Amazon is doing marketing, so as every other marketplace. No, the marketing for your product is within the platform. just to give you a rough estimate, that's my estimation. There are some 25 crore product listed. There's no official number, but this is something I have done a guesstimation work. Out of those 25 crore products, there are a lot of products in each and every category. And if in your category there are 5,000 products, then how you're going to actually be on top of it? So again, the point is, jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai. If you're not visible to the customer on the first, second, third, or fourth page maximum, or if what customer is looking at, you're not coming in front of the first screen, how you're going to actually sell them. So it's a very simple example. If there are people who run their showroom or shops or physical retail outlets, you have a presentation of the product. So you have a front of the showroom, you have the prime location of the showroom, then you have the products which are placed next to your counter, the billing counter, right? So you choose specific locations and you place your product so that it's visible to the customer, depending upon the state of the consumer within the buying cycle, right? So that's what happened in marketplace. That's what happened in the online space as well. If you're running your own website, there's only one page visible to the customer at one point of time. So you need to choose the page and place your products accordingly. And for that, you need to have a right plan for visibility on the marketplace. So you need to have a right marketing plan. The brands who actually market for a visibility, they get at least 3 to 4x sales compared to brands who are not using the visibility option. And the last thing, and that's one of the most important things where people actually fail in growing their business, they don't have a right operations system in place, right? When I talk about right operations system, they don't have a right inventory management system. They don't have a right order packing system. They end up shipping a wrong product to the customer. Somebody ordered a red color product, you have shipped the yellow color product. Customer is not going to be happy for that. Okay, so there are tools available. There are services available which helps you to be operationally optimized. Like for inventory, I always recommend to go with Unicommerce. I personally used Unicommerce, wherein I was managing multiple marketplaces, managing my entire inventory there, and ensuring none of my order is shipped wrong. Or I have a record: 0% orders were shipped wrong, so all were 100% correct, and that was only because of the tools which I was using. Okay, so these are the 4 major points you need to work and understand. And once you have things in place, right, definitely business is going to flow. Okay, now there are certain things which I have understood of working with multiple brands in last multiple years, that the reason of failure, I'm sure most of you must have been coming over here to understand, okay, how you can outsource, how you can find an agency who can do the business for you. I don't recommend in the initial phase to outsource a business to somebody else. Do you have, if you're into retail business, have you outsourced your retail shop to somebody else? No. You have understood the entire game, and that's how you're doing. Once you have understood, you outsource certain areas, okay, which are definitely important, but you know how to get the things done from others, right? If you're into export business, you understand each and everything. That's what I want all the businesses who are coming onto Amazon, they understand the Amazon business first by yourself. So that strategy, so there are 2 parts. One is strategy part, one is the other is the operation part, execution. So on a strategy part, you have to understand. If you don't understand the strategy by yourself, you might not be able to actually run the business and grow the business, and you would be dependent upon others' opinions of what to do, what not to do. And that's when, because this is something which I have realized, you understand your business more than anybody else, right? I'm not minimizing the importance of operation over here, or the companies who are actually operating, but they are expert at the operations. They are very much expert at the Amazon tool. They know how to use the tool. You're not supposed to really sit down and do the operational task, data entry job, but you need to understand your business and how it's going to work on Amazon. Then you have a team, have an outsourced company who can do that. Or if you choose to have it from the very first day, it's important for you also to understand and then strategize, so that when you're developing any product or sourcing any product, you know at what price point you need to understand what model to choose on and at what price you're going to sell at, right? This is the most important point. The next biggest problem is that people don't invest, the brands don't invest in the product presentation. Again, I'm coming to the point. Jo dikhta hai wo bikhta hai. If your presentation is not correct, the way you present your product in any of the online space, any website, you have a website, you have a marketplace or social selling, the more presentable your product is, more attractive it will look like, and the chances the people will buy. So you have to invest in the presentation of the product. The web page is your salesperson, and you need to consider in that manner that actually the salesperson is talking to the customer, your images are talking to the customer, and information is talking to the customer and what they are looking for, not what you want to tell them. You need to, so that's the most important part. So invest in the right presentation. Having understanding of right business model is very important. I have already discussed about that. Understanding the cost points is again an important, because you need to understand where the cost is going to go, right? So understand the different costs I've already covered in the last slide. And the last thing which I've seen people actually fail, because they just list and pray. They don't focus on any of the other 4 points which I've just mentioned, or the previous slide 4 points which I mentioned. They simply list and they say, oh, order aa jaye bas. And at the end of the day, what happens is either they get an order which actually end up in losing their money because they have not invested in the right model, not having a right price strategy, and at the same time they have not invested in the marketing, because of which they don't get orders as well. So don't follow the list and pray strategy. It's an important channel. Okay, and once you invest right thing, once you invest in the right information, right set of strategy, which is definitely a regular job, it's not an easy. You have to invest a lot of time in actually understanding your retail strategy, your wholesale strategy, your export strategy, so as in the e-commerce channel. And trust me, I'll show you the results in the coming slides, what has happened to the brands, specifically in the COVID period, what they have done by just following specific things, and definitely the results are there. Okay, so in overall, in a nutshell, the key takeaways I want to mention to you. Okay, Vishesh, can you just confirm if my screen is visible?
Yes, Nishant, you can see.
Oh, perfect. I just got a notification. Thank you so much. Okay, so the key takeaways are, not all business models are profitable for all products. Keep this in mind. So for different products, different price points, the business model has to be different, either FBA, self-ship, or easy-ship. Choose wisely, and you can choose only by understanding the different points of that. Understand the models, understand the cost points, and then look for the right model for that particular product. You might have in your business 5 different products and 2 different models. So combination of them will actually turn profitable for you, right? Don't outsource the businesses to others. That's what I recommend to everybody in the initial stage. Understand, learn the business, understand it thoroughly, and then outsource the operations. So there are 2 things, as I've been telling. There is a strategy, there is an operation. So do it wisely. Okay. Choose the right set of tools to make your operational job easy and stay focused on your business growth. That's the most important part. I want to focus on that. Okay. I'll tell you in a practical reason where problems come actually. You get 50 orders in a day and you take 5 minutes to process a single order. You actually spend almost 4 to 5 hours in just processing the orders. They're just 50 orders. There are brands who get at least 400 to 500 orders a day. Can you process all of them in just one single day with one person? No. So in this case, to increase your operational efficiency, you need tools like Unicommerce. Okay, they help you in processing orders in very quick time. If you're just selling on Amazon, that's a single platform. If you're selling, then Shiprocket's platform is very much in, the interface is very good. They actually help you process orders that quickly. Okay, if you're using self-ship and selling on Amazon, then actually Shiprocket does the job for you. Okay, if you're selling on multiple platforms and using using this easy-ship, then definitely the Unicommerce is a good platform for you, because it helps you integrate. If you're selling 4 or 5 platforms, your own website, Shopify website, you're selling on Amazon, you're selling on other marketplace places as well. So it integrates the inventory as well. So in this scenario, I'm assuming that there would be platforms who are already selling on their website, which is Shopify, for example, and you want to start on Amazon. So Unicommerce will actually do this job seamlessly, integration, order management, everything from a single interface. So these kind of tools are required for you to reduce your operational cost and efficiency. right? So that you can focus on actually understanding the consumer behavior, which everybody was talking about in the panel as well, that the consumer is changing. So you need to understand the consumer, right? Understand all the costs, okay? Consider the cost involved in opening a showroom and promoting it to get the customer. That's the same cost if you invest in online space. Trust me, you'll actually have a profitable e-commerce business with all the components covered, the right understanding of the business model, understanding all the costs. So there's a cost for every channel. So as e-commerce as a channel. Okay. Now in this, what I want to tell you is, yes, when you open a showroom, what people generally do a mistake. Actually, I want to take this point. That let's suppose you're selling a specific product and you say, okay, I need to pay to Amazon, I need to pay to shipping company, I need to pay all this. I'm just saving only 10 rupees for an order. I want to ask one simple thing. If you're selling it from a retail store, you have a rent, you have a fixed cost, electricity, you have a office boy or helper salary and all the things. Okay, you have a travel cost, which is fixed. If you sell 100 pieces, then the cost of all those things is factored to this 100 pieces. If you're not selling even a single piece, the entire cost is up to you. Here in Amazon, if you talk about specifically, you're paying only if a sale is happening. So the cost of a store is factored into each and every sale, and it's a success based. So do the calculation and you'll actually find that it's actually a profitable and risk-free model. Understand this point. Okay. So in this, the last 2 points which I want to tell you.
Just on time check. So I want to leave
I'm
5
just on
minutes
last 2 points
audience questions as well.
I'm on the last 2 points. So make sure that you focus on the presentation, as I mentioned, the key point, and you have your store has to look actually absolutely brilliant. Okay. And one thing which is the most important, it's not a short-term business, it's a long-term business, and focus on omni-channel. Right, guys? So these are the key takeaways, and I believe you guys are now ready to make it big. And this is the 2 set of slides which I want to show you. I believe, Vishesh, can you just take to the next 2 slides? I'm not able to move. The next one. That's it. The next one. Yeah. So these are 2 brands whom I mentored and actually followed these basic things, nothing beyond that. Look at the results. The first one, in just 1 month, they got 16 lakh, and the other brand which just launched, you can see the screenshot, 19 June. I took it yesterday. They've got 1,65,000 in less than a month's time. Okay, so there is a sale happening. There is a lot of new brands which are actually coming. Currently, I'm mentoring 25 plus brands who are going through this same understanding. Okay, and I'm sure they would actually be doing better than them for sure. I really want all of them. So take this myth out of your mind that it's not profitable. One, it's not a piece of your cake. Focus on certain things, and trust me, it's one of the most biggest channels you can have in the next 2 to 3 years. And that's what I call post-COVID era of Indian e-commerce industry. And that's all from my side. And I'm open for the Q&A. Thank you, Vishesh. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah.
Any questions if you have?
So I'll just quickly, and if you could just briefly answer them. What is the payment cycle by Amazon? In how many days do we get our payment?
First payment in 21 days, then after every 7 days.
Perfect. And second question is, do we need GST to sell on Amazon?
If you're selling books, no. Other than books, you need a GST.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that's all. We don't have any more questions. I would like to thank all our audiences to join us today. And don't forget to sign back in tomorrow, same time. We have an exciting agenda for tomorrow and speakers joining us tomorrow as well. So tomorrow we will have Vinay Mehendirata, founder Ecom Gurukul, Nupur Chaturvedi, country head of SMEs PayU India, Gautam Kapoor, CEO, co-founder Shiprocket, Ashish Goyal, product marketing manager Zoho Commerce, Rohan Bhargav, co-founder EarnKaro, Kavish Ahuja, senior business development manager Payoneer, Divas Khurana, co-founder Digicel, and moderating and managing the show, Megha Gaba, assistant director customer success Shiprocket. Thank you all. Thank you for joining us today.